So, when it comes to you, you probably speak English. But when it comes to the rest of the country, well, apparently they speak anything but. Because it says that we live in Britain's Valley of Strangers, and it's inside a Muslim-majority northern town, where locals say that there's no point speaking English. And one thing that I did notice, right, is that when they're talking about your population and your language decreasing, but the article's written by someone called Vivek Chowdhury, there's no denying it now, is there? We've got an article about foreign languages, written by someone called Vivek Chowdhury. In fact, I'm starting to think that the only British people left are me and you. That's when Vivek comes in with the, no, Vivek. No. But one thing that I did want to mention as well, I mean, other than this guy selling typical English fashion, is this map that they've got in the Daily Mail. Because you can see there, it says, how many people struggle to speak English in your area? And, let's type some places in. But how we're going to do it, right? We're going to do things a little bit differently. So we're going to search for towns and locations. But I've got here, it's a list of the top 10 most dangerous cities in the UK. And you'll have to forgive me, but I just want to see if there's any link between a dangerous city and the amount of people that don't speak English. I got to tell you, I think they're going to go hand in hand. Do you know what I mean? Foreign language up, crime is also up as well. So we'll start with Bradford. That was ironically highest on I'm looking at it now. I'll put a screenshot up for you guys. But yeah, Bradford's top of the list. I don't think we're going to need the Mythbusters to prove this one. Let's go Bradford. Let's see what the language situation's like in yeah, it's completely done in it. Wow. So I know that when it comes to like districts and voting regions as well, sometimes the area's larger than the actual city. Do you know what I mean? So when you look at Bradford itself, like central Bradford, that is, like these people said, there's almost no point speaking English. Especially not when it looks like that. I still speak it though, don't get me wrong, even if I'm the last one. Then we got Coventry. So it says this is the percentage of over 16s who cannot speak English well or at all. And yeah, they really do stick to themselves, don't they? That's crazy. It's a shame if we zoom out, it doesn't show us the whole place. Let's have a look at we're not going to do the whole list today. A lot of people would have dragged this out into like an hour and a half live. But no, there's no need for that here. Look at Birmingham. That's crazy. Why do they flock to the cities? I've never understood it. If they're just going to sit there on universal credit or personal independence, but like, they don't even speak English. Chances are they're not working. So why do they need to go to the cities? In fact, I hate to mention it, right? It's kind of a harsh opinion I've had for a while, and I've never mentioned it on the channel, so here's a first. Grenfell Tower. Why'd those people need to be there? But what are they doing? You're in the middle of the city. Whereas in reality, they don't need to be in the city in that tower. Like they didn't have some imperative job that they needed to go to that absolutely they needed to get there in 20 minutes or less. No, it was tragic, don't get me wrong. But they didn't need that many people in that tower. For some reason, migrants come to the UK and they just flock to the cities. I've got a couple of theories on it, but I'll save that for another video. But now we're going to have a look at Manchester. And it's the same all round, isn't it? It's just red. And it's only going to get worse as well. You've got to think to yourself. All of these people who don't speak English, they're having kids and chances are they're not going to speak English either. At least not for a couple of decades when they leave the house and they leave the religion. But like I said, it's exponential. It's going to grow quicker than it grew the time before. Then we're going to have a look at London. London's a bit tricky because we've just got City of London. In fact, Tower Hamlets. We'll do Tower Hamlets. But yeah, London's exactly the same. No matter, in fact, to be fair, it kind of shows. No matter where you go, there's always a foreigner. And there's always a part of town with more foreigners than the average foreign place. Here we go, Tower Hamlets. Yeah, look at that. That's as red as you'd want it. Wait, it's a lot more red than you'd actually want it, but that is. I think there's something like, it's not many square miles, but I think it's something like, in fact, what am I saying? I think. I'm sat here with Google it. I'll just Google it. 1 second. Yeah, you can see here, there's 325,000 people in Tower Hamlets. And every square mile, there's 43,000 people per square mile. You imagine living there. 43,000 people per square mile. They've got to have shops, schools, medical needs, taxis. Well, they're going to be driving the taxis. Where do you want to go? And then you've got to think of like the police have got to try and solve crime in a place where every square mile there's 43,000 suspects. Like, you imagine that? Who did it? Oh, the guy who lives down there. There's 10,000 people on that road, Sudanese Steve. How do they expect us to find them? In fact, they got all the characters. Sudanese Steve lives there. You got Libby and Larry on that corner. And Iraqi Ian's just moved into Whitechapel. And the consequences, like, I know I'm sat here laughing, but the consequences of this are absolutely dire. Like I said, it's exponential. Because more people that don't speak English mean there's going to be even more people next year that don't speak it. And don't get me wrong, like, I hate to draw the comparison, but in England, I think we should speak English. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's hardly controversial, or at least it shouldn't be. Whereas in reality, I'd have to use a translator just to tell it to these people. And if you enjoyed this daily Clown World video, where we saw that me and you might possibly be the last ever English speakers, if you enjoy this type of political geography, then you've got to subscribe for tomorrow. Because it's just awful. It just gets worse and worse.
This country has gone crazy.